I had a special purpose in coming to Ganpati Pule. Apart from that, it was a very beautiful place and very relaxing for all of you. The reason is, I found this place had vibrations which will clear you out very easily, first of all. But you have to desire it, really, ardently. You should have that desire, otherwise the Kundalini may not rise. That is very important point. That you have to desire your ascent, nothing else. It's not a place you have come for holiday or just for some sort of a relaxation or for some enjoyment or sleeping or anything. But you have come here for a penance, for a tapasya. To clear out yourself completely. This is a place of Sri Ganesha's temple, which is not very much frequented by people and is still very, very pure. And I thought the Ganesh principle will be awakened in you, which is the source of everything. Sri Ganesha's principle, as you know, in a very large way or expansive way, we call it the innocence. But we do not know the intricacies and the details to which it can go or work it out. Sri Ganesha's innocence has a tremendous power to purify people, to make you holy, to make you auspicious. A person who has got Sri Ganesha's principle awakened is auspicious in his presence. Such a person, whenever he moves, things move in a direction that the coefficients works out. It becomes absolutely auspicious. Auspiciousness cannot be achieved without Sri Ganesha's help. Now this auspiciousness, now we Sahajogis believe into. That there is something like auspiciousness by which everything works out smoothly, everything we feel is done by God's power, that we are all the time wanted by nature, loved by surroundings and the atmosphere. But this understanding can only come if you have that pure desire within you that you have to ascend. You have come here to ascend, not to enjoy yourself or a place of resort or something like that. This principle is very much awakened, as you see, in the local people here. And how Spartan they are, how hard-working. They have been awake for days together and nights together, but still they are very, very relaxed and they do not need any help. Just in that enthusiasm they are working. So the second blessing of Ganesha is that he is playful. He is prasanna. He is always a pleasing personality. He dances, he pleases you, he has ways and methods of pleasing you. And in the same way, a person who has that awakened Ganesha within him is all the time a very pleasing personality. Not a drowned out faces, not a face that repels you, the face that makes you feel unhappy, but is a personality that makes you very easy, very understandable, likable, that sort of a personality you develop. But so far as the life has been abroad, I have seen that the situation has been very different. And the aggressiveness and the quarrelsomeness, we can say the hurting capacity is so overdeveloped that you have to somehow or other succumb completely to the auspiciousness of Sri Ganesha. Because all the instruments that were to be used for spreading Sahaja Yoga or for spreading the love of God, for spreading auspiciousness of God, working out His designs and plans and adjusting yourself to the laws of God's desires, it was very important that we should have had our instruments done in such a way that they were absolutely useful. On the contrary, we have misused them, spoiled them, and have completely made them unholy. So that's another point. We have to look at ourselves here. What have we been doing to ourselves? What is the need for us to make ourselves unholy? And why should we be unholy? When Sri Ganesha is there, we can make ourselves very holy, auspicious. Now, no use believing that we are perfect. Those who believe like that cannot ascend. Everybody must know there are lots of imperfections, and these imperfections in me that should be conquered with and to be found out. Only in the light of Sri Ganesha's innocence you can see. A little child can show you how we are stupid and foolish and how we behave. So many times you must have seen children come out of with such utterances that the elders are put to shame. So the childlike temperament can be developed if we awaken Sri Ganesha's principle within ourselves, which is a very, very powerful, deity, very powerful deity. Because a child, supposing one child is lost, say a child runs away, or if a child is hanging somewhere on a tree, the whole community will rush to take out the child. The concern will be there. Even in the Western countries, I have seen if one little girl is tortured, everybody is worried about the child. Everybody opposes that. Maybe there are some horrible people, no doubt. Maybe there are more than there are here. But one gets concerned. So child itself is a very sort of a source of getting all the protection from everywhere. Because the child is growing. The child is growing. Everybody wants to help the child. So in the same way, when this Ganesha principle is developed into you, you realize that you have to grow. You are still growing. A little child learns so many words in such a short time that we cannot learn afterwards when we are grown up. Say after 60, if you have to learn even 3 sentences is impossible. So the child is growing, and his curiosity and his capacity to know more things is also very much sharp, and he starts learning more. He doesn't think he knows everything. The ones who think like that are not yet born properly. I don't know anything, I have to know this, I have to know that, I have to know that. I don't know anything so far. And the children do it so easily, you must have seen. Little bit you do this way or that way, they immediately follow. So what you have to do is to know that you are still in a child stage, you are growing. We have to humble down and we have to know a lot. And from wherever we have to know, we have to know. The arrogance, the idea that we know a lot itself is very, very dangerous for the growth. Very dangerous. And that is what one has to give up and should know that we do not know anything, but we have to know. Many people who come to Sahaja Yoga settle down as we are Sahaja Yogis, but don't know a word about Sahaja Yoga. So many of them, especially the ladies, I am surprised. They know very little about Sahaja Yoga. It's rather surprising. Now in Sahaja Yoga there's nothing like women and men. Everybody has equal rights. It's not the job of women just to sing songs. No, it's not. They have to know each and everything about Sahaja Yoga. They have to know what are the diseases, how they are cured, what are the mental problems, how are these chakras are made. Everything they have to know, the medicine, they have to know the psychology, they have to know the divine powers. Everything they have to know how it works out. And that ignorance will never be forgiven. Because you are the ones who have to talk about it to us. The third thing is, a child is never a silly person, never silly. He never does something in a silly way. While you see many people who are brought up in a very strict way become suddenly very silly at an old age. Very silly, this phenomena I see much more in the West. Suddenly they become trying to be very youngish type, and just they'll clap like this and start behaving in a very funny manner. I used to wonder what's wrong with them. Why are they behaving like this, you see? But it is, I think, they're bottled up. And then suddenly they try to behave, but they are not. A child is never a silly person. On the contrary, if somebody is silly, they say, he's a clown. They come and tell me, he's a clown, He's not all right. Or he's a buffoon. Whatever words they know, they'll express. They don't like. They start wondering, what's the matter with this person? So all these things come to us because we have no idea that we have to grow in a steady understanding, awareness. Not in how you express yourself in Sahaja Yoga, how you do things in Sahaja Yoga. It is how you are aware of it inside. In the same way, emotionally, when I say something, I don't think people understand what I mean. Now I said that you put on bindis. Again I find you are just the same. At least here you should. This is Ganesha's mark. They would not put it. So many times I've said, how much the time does it take to put it on? Now, this is a very common things that are going on. Now, another thing is that, you see, a child doesn't want to be disabled at all. Today one child had gone for a bath and he was coming back. His father wanted him to see me. He said, no, my clothes are not all right, my hair are all disabled. How can I see mother? So he went back, he put some oil on his hair, properly dressed up smartly. When we were young, we always knew all the Western people were very smartly dressed, properly groomed. They would never come with disabled hairs. But he said, no, my hair are disabled, how can I go and see mother? So we have to give up these funny ideas of fashions and all that, because this will all go away. You lose your hair, you'll all become bald-headed, it will look very funny. There's no wisdom in it. But a child has a wisdom, he wouldn't come. He dressed up himself properly, then he came and stood before me. And this is what we have to understand, that our appearances are the expression of our inner being. We have to do certain things because we do not know how to accept things, how to do things like a child does. A child, if you tell him anything, he obeys and he listens. Otherwise the child is not a normal child. In India, if there's a child who doesn't obey, they just thrash him nicely, put him in the room for 3 days, make him starve, put him right. Nothing doing. That doesn't mean that people are harsh here with children. Nobody kills children or anything. But you have to be very, very careful with your children. You shouldn't allow them to be lousy, to be untidy, to be languid, like lotus eaters, you see, or like people who have no smartness about them. You are all such yogis and you have to be like that, in that way. A child's another attribute is that he hits always the principle of everything. Always the principle. A child sees to the principle of everything. And the questions they ask sometimes is so remarkably collective that I am surprised how they go to that point. They never waste time in frivolous things. Never. Never waste time in frivolous things, talking of frivolous things, nothing of the kind. I haven't seen children talking about their clothes or about the seats they have got or the houses, nothing of the kind. They are busy doing some construction, very busy, you see. You ask them what are doing, see, we are trying to tie up the whole of the airport or the whole of Bombay. Like that they will tell you. They are very busy people. If you see realized souls who are children, they are always worried about the collective. And that's what should be your situation, that you should be all the time worried about the collective as a child is. That how I will help the collective. But not worried about yourself. What is my personality? Am I that impressive? If I go to people, will they believe that I am something, a realized soul? Or I am like other women or other men who are going to the hairdressers and having all kinds of hairdressing up and wearing all kinds of funny dresses to impress others? Am I looking like a saint? Am I behaving like a saint? These things should come to you very easily. If you tell a child you are a Sahajogi, they say so. I am a Sahajogi. I can't do that. All the nonsense starts after they develop their ego. And then they start behaving in a funny way. And it develops much more in the West earlier. But here it takes time. And the children are just accepting whatever God gives them. To them, alertness is so natural. If there's an aeroplane is going, they'll say, bye-bye aeroplane. Then there are ships are going, bye-bye. To the sea, they'll say, all right, sea will come and see you tomorrow, see. Everything is within their mind. To them, everything is there. They'll come, you ask them, how did you like it? Oh, we like the grass very much, it was nice and everything they will tell you, the details about everything. So alert. And then they'll say, oh, why didn't you do this? You could have put some flowers here, you could have done some flowers, would have looked nice for the hut or something, a suggestion they will give. Very particular on cleanliness, anything. And in childhood, children get up very early. All the children in childhood get up very early. It's a nuisance for mothers, but they get up very early. And that's how I also get up very early. To getting up early is a childlike behavior. Because the birds are singing, the sun is rising, such beauty in the sky. And why am I sleeping? They'll wake up the whole house. But people don't like it. You see, sometimes they beat. Not in India. In India, people try to get up early in the morning. It's regarded something very dharmic and good. Even if you sleep late, we'll get up early in the morning. That's one thing. Then you can sleep in the daytime. But nobody sleeps over this thing like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Nobody sleeps like that. I mean, I have a problem. I don't know what to do with myself. You can sleep in the daytime for a while if you want to overcome the night's sleep. And you can be quite fresh. You can be quite all right in the evening if you sleep for a while. But a child doesn't think too much. He doesn't plan too much. You see, he makes fun out of everything. You take them anywhere, say you take them to an airport. There's nothing to be played about. They'll find out some groove somewhere, they'll jump on that, they'll get height there, play there. They can make play out of any gross stuff that we think is useless, they'll make out of it. They're very constructive and playful. And that is what we have to be. Make play out of your life. Everything is meeting people, talking to them. It should come naturally, not artificially. Also, some people, I have seen a habit of putting up an expression all the time, like a smile or a frown or this thing. Children are never like that. Their muscles are so supple. They react all the time. Sometimes when they are happy, when they are unhappy, everything. You see, the muscles are all the time are acting like that. Nobody is tense. That's why we have problems with our faces, you see, because we keep them in one style, you see. And these days, the more miserable you are regarded as more handsome. That's finished. Or else some people just go on smiling all the time like this. It's very bad. Or all the time absolutely feeling unhappy. You should allow the action of our emotions to be expressed on your face. I am told that it is said that there should be no emotions shown on your faces. I mean, I can't understand. What is the use of such a personality who doesn't know or show any emotions? When you are not a stone, are you? So all these foolish, stupid ideas which are given to us should be given up. And we should smile, we should laugh, natural. We should talk to people in a natural way. And a child is extremely dignified. Sri Ganesha dances with his dignity. He doesn't do frivolous, nonsensical things. In his rise and in his fall and in his movements and steps is nothing but his weight. So something cheapish he doesn't do. In the same way, there should be dignity throughout. Dignified behavior should be within us. Now you have to judge yourself how far you have become Sri Ganesha within yourself. Are you innocent? You think of cheating others, spoiling others. Like my television, I was amazed. I mean, I can never think of spoiling a television and this, that, these ideas. From where do they come into your heads? Why should we? I've never done it all my life, something like that. You know that I've always paid every duty, everything. Why should we do such a nonsensical to spoil the television and spoil it, make it look cheaper? This why for what? How much are you going to save out of it? But all these ideas come into your heads. I just don't know from where. Why cheat? We are Sahajogis. We cannot cheat anyone. Or you can tell the customs, this is the situation is. If you allow, we'll go, otherwise we'll stay. There is negative attitude, never comes to children. They are so plain and simple. Once we had gone, I must tell you how children are so simple. Once we had gone to inside a port, and my nephew gave me 2 tins of cheese, you see. And we were bringing it out. So my daughter was a very small girl. So when we were coming, he asked, do you have anything? I said, we have some 2 tins of cheese. Yes, yes, and we are going to eat it also. See, we have opened one and we are eating. The custom fellow was so impressed by her innocence. He says, for your eating? Yes, yes, for our eating we have taken it. Is it all right? He said, it's all right. You see, the simplicity and innocence is itself is a certificate for you. Not these cunning methods. What is there? I went precisely on the phone. I tell them, oh Baba, for heaven's sake, I'll pay every duty. You don't have to do anything. Just put this thing there. Tell that it is mine. You don't have to do anything. Declare it, this, that. Why? Where is our mind going? It's all right. How much are we going to lose in there? How much have we gained so far money? What do we have? Saving money here, saving money there. Children don't do like that. No, they don't. Like my grandson, he was saying, why do you stay in this wretched place, very bad vibrations in London? I said, you see, your grandfather has to stay here for earning money. He said, money? Why do you need so much money for? Why do you need money? Why don't you come to India? I said, you need money. So when my husband came back, he took out a 2p. He said, you want money? Have it. Now put it on your head. Why do you want to have money? And my husband didn't know where to look. You want money? All right, have it. Put it on your head. There was a little boy, you see. But interest in money starts later. As soon as there's money, we start looking at it when we grow up. Otherwise, we don't. All these funny interests start growing later on. What is for Ganesha? Money is the dust of his feet. What for him gold? What for him anything? Whether he wears a crown of gold or he doesn't wear anything makes no difference. He's there. His head is just the same. Out of respect, out of adoration, people might give him gold or anything just to be satisfied. It's all right for him. What does it matter? And any child who is a real child will not accept anything from anybody else. Nothing. But if he takes, he will think, well, how should I return it back? Always. I know my own grandchildren have done it. You see, if you give them something, they'll make a heart, put inside that, write it down nicely. And when I come out of my bathroom, they'll give me that heart, you see, that thank you very much for this and that. But when we grow up, we even forget to thank people. We take everything for granted. We don't have that. We just think we have to judge everyone all the time. That's not good. This is not good. Could have been better. We never think this is given to us. Be thankful. Count your blessings. But for children it's not so. If you give them a small thing, they'll keep it. This is given to me by my grandmother. I've seen this in my own grandchildren. The eldest one, when she was small, I gave her a little sari, a very small one, just for her to wear. So when I went there, she said, you see, Nani, I must tell you one thing serious is happening. I said, what? You see, the sari you gave me, I've kept it very carefully, but my mother is trying to be funny. I said, what happened? You know, she didn't give it to anyone, but she showed it to some people she should not have shown it. Very seriously. They're so sweet and so beautiful when they say things. Like once I had given her a Wendy house, and in Wendy house she made it nicely. She called her mother, I made a very nice house for you, come along. So my daughter is rather tall, you see. She found it difficult. She went inside the Wendy house and sat there. And she says, so what have you got for me to eat? She said, Mummy, when you go to somebody's house, you don't say such a thing. And she laughed. And she laughed so much that she broke all her Wendy house. So she came out and she told me, Grandma, you have not given any good training to your daughters. First of all, she comes to my house, asks funny questions, and then she breaks my house. Do you do like this to anyone else? How innocent and simple that. Few things, like that there are so many things I can tell you. I've seen the way they talk and say things and all that. So simple and so good and so collective and so beautiful. In the same way we have to be. Another thing, a child doesn't have any fear. Child doesn't have any fear. Ganesha has no fear at all. In the same way you should have no fear at all, no fear. As long as your mother is with you, why should you have any fear? Fear of this, fear of that, I'm frightened, I can't do this, I can't do that. That children never do. They'll try everything if you tell them. You should have no fear. I don't know what fear is. In the same way, you should have no fear. No fear of anything. Nothing is going to go wrong with you. But don't do wrong things. If you do wrong things, it will repel. It will work out on you. But don't do wrong things. Be straightforward. And nothing can harm you. Nothing can harm you. You have had so many experiences of this, how everywhere laid down for you, everybody is looking after you. There are so many deities who are working out things for you. But you have to be extremely careful that you do not develop this fear business. Because fear takes you to the left side, and once you go to the left side, you know the problems of the left side is, first of all, you go against Ganesha. Ganesha is standing at the base of the left. And then you develop cancers, you develop all these things, fear, and emotional problems and all these things come. In emotions, you should be bubbling with joy. Joy is your emotion. In action, you should be thoughtless. And in assent, you should be surrendered. That's all. It's very simple. Three mantras are very simple for children. They are like that. Today, at the base of the Sri Ganesha's hill, we have to think of awakening the Ganesh Tattva within us. For that, we have to meditate, we have to think about it, we have to put our time to it. Actually, if I were you, I may not sleep at all. I will go to the seashore, sit down there, meditate the whole time. Before breaking the Sahasrara, I kept awake for 2 nights. And I was just all alone near the sea, all alone the whole night, working it out for 2 nights. But what do? We think about our comforts, we think about this, about that. It's not so. You are here, such a chance. We get tired because we think too much. We know how to get out of this tiredness and this and that. So this is a very good chance for you. We have come here, of course it's a beautiful place and all that, but it's mainly the thing why I thought of bringing you here, that it may suddenly give you a big boost up and you might rise very high, for which I may not be able to really arrange otherwise. This kind of ascent which is possible. Many of the Indians have not even seen this place before. It's such a beautiful place, and they are surprised that in India we have such beautiful places. And after coming here, they have felt the beauty, the auspiciousness, the wisdom of choosing this place. It's so lovable, so beautiful. But I hope I see the effects of that in you. Now, you have to go and have your food. We have a very generous man who is cooking for you. Be careful. You shouldn't spoil your health, especially for those who have to go with us ahead. So be careful. They are very generous people, my brother and the gentleman who is cooking for you. Both are competing in generosity. So you be careful. Now only the Saj Yogis from abroad and the non-vegetarians have to go first, and then the vegetarians will go, and after that we'll have some music program. That's what it is going to be. Tomorrow morning I expect you to go for meditation about 5 o'clock in the morning. Then have your bath in the sea. If I were you, I would go earlier, but it's alright. You can't be me. So about 5 o'clock you go and meditate. Then have your bath there, come and have your tea, and then you can have your breakfast. After that you are going to have a seminar here. We have about to finalize the marriage list, about to finalize. And maybe this evening we might be able to announce it completely before you go to sleep. And marriages are going to be done in a very different way because we don't have any horses. So we are going to use bullock carts. And if the bullock carts are brought on the from the village, if the roads are really great, as I have got the bullock carts when I travel on the would be a good preparation for a good marriage. Life is not so easy after marriage, and you have to know how to wait through it. Especially in the beginning, it's rather very funny because you just start thinking about it. Every time you start thinking, it's all nonsense. You just run away from joy. So don't think about your marriages, just enjoy it. Just jump in the sea. That's all. All right, thank you very much. May God bless. You all can go and have your food. The vegetarians have to wait for a while. Now go and finish it fast because vegetarians have to go afterwards. सुनो बेटा, वो इसको बुलाओ, पेगौर